everybody for joining us this evening on this clear, crisp autumn night. We want to thank everybody for coming out and being here for our third meeting of the year. We want to thank you, our members, and also to any visitors who may be checking us out tonight. Thank you for coming along and checking out what the Catalyst Giving Circle is all about. We will be holding a member appreciation raffle at the end of tonight's meeting, and I'll also be making some special announcements about a member promotion beginning at the close of this meeting and about the size of our grant next year. In the meantime, if you don't know who I am, my name is Dave Obudzinski. I'm the president of the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain, and I thank you very much for being here. Special thanks for the consistent and wonderful support from several hosts who have allowed us to hold our meetings in some great settings throughout the community this year. The Hospital of Central Connecticut was our host in May. In September, it was Stanley Black & Decker. And tonight, for our third and final meeting of the year, an anonymous Community Foundation donor has arranged and paid for our meeting here at Shuttle Meadow Club. And I'm going to move this because I can't see this tape. There, that's better. Hi, guys. Special thanks to our Catalyst Steering Committee, who we've introduced you to at previous meetings. They work on our Catalyst program throughout the year, preparing, advising our team, participating in the speaking program, and so much more. And if any of our members or soon-to-be members have an interest in joining that steering committee, please let any of our staff know, and we'll be happy to talk to you about that. But at this particular moment, I would like to take a moment in our program tonight to remember Jim Williamson. Jim is the former president of our Community Foundation. Jim passed very recently, and suddenly. And as many of you know, Jim led our foundation for 13 years before retiring in August of 2017. And among other things, he and the foundation team and the donors accomplished many things. The Catalyst Giving Circle program, under his watch, became a growing fixture in the community. Jim spoke at each meeting as I now do. He was a mentor to me, and his leadership provided a firm foundation upon which each of us continue the tradition of connecting people who care with causes that matter. So please join me in a moment of silence as we remember our friend Jim. Thank you. And now, I would like to introduce Leanne Gamindale and Betsy Smith from Plainville Community Schools, who will update us on the impact of last year's Catalyst Workforce of the Future grant. This is one of the highlights of our year, is to hear about how the grant that we as a Giving Circle selected last year, how it was applied and the impact that it made. So without further ado, thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I'm sorry if this is too loud or too close, but this is what we got. So I'm very pleased to present to you tonight information on the Plainville Alternative Learning Center, which was awarded the Community Foundation grant from last year. This is Betsy Smith, my colleague, who is actually the job coach within the Plainville Alternative Learning Center, and Betsy is also going to say a few words as well. The original purpose of the grant was to hire a job coach, a part-time job coach. The job coach, in collaboration with an alternative learning center instructor and school counselors, offered 3 key components to students in Plainville High School. The first being academic support, credit recovery, employability training, and job experiences. The Alternative Learning Center, or the ALC as we call it in Plainville, was created to offer a supportive structure for individualized accelerated credit recovery, resulting in graduation for each student participating in the program. The post-graduation planning and transition components was coordinated, supported, and managed by a job coach position, which was filled by Betsy Smith. The goal or mission of the Alternative Learning Center was to provide individualized means of achieving a high school diploma and a workable plan for college and/or career exploration post-graduation. We looked at our students who were at risk, kids who needed credit recovery, and also job/employability training, so that once they got out into the community, they could actually know how to do an interview, how to fill out a job application, and have better success in those areas. Additionally, students in the program have comprehensive access to a network of academic support, employability training, job experiences that would help them advance career opportunities that maybe they already had, but kind of were stuck in. The outcomes expected for the ALC students include the following: improved credit attainment, passing grades, improved attendance, that was a big one for us as well, improved behavior, job attainment, and high school completion with a solid plan for post-secondary, either college or career. I want to talk just a little bit about credit recovery for students and how that impacted a lot of our students in Plainville. All of the students who participated in the ALC program improved attendance. They did receive passing grades, and all of the seniors in the ALC graduated from high school last year. The other students in the Alternative Learning Center program attained credits via the credit recovery component of the ALC, and all advanced to the next grade successfully. Lastly, one student was employed upon graduation, sustained employment, another was scheduled to interview, and a third student returned to his previous summer job with a better skill set than they had the previous year. I'm going to turn things over to Betsy now so she can tell you a little bit about what her job looks like during the day.
Thank you, Leanne. I'm going to give you an overview, but also been asked to talk about the stories and the students that I had the opportunity to impact. I also need to let you all know that Plainville Community Schools, I came from a different place before, a different district, but what was key for the success for all of these students was there was a group of caring adults. Everywhere I went, when I was working with 15 different students, each student had a group of adults helping them along. And one might have been a teacher and a guidance counselor, but also there is a mentor program. And then there's their favorite woman at the office, who's the office assistant to the principal. There was an amazing amount of community in Plainville Community Schools. So that is very important for the success of the program, was also that group of caring adults. But some of what we did achieve is everyone left with a resume, cover letter, reference list. They were introduced to the community colleges in the area, to how to go to a job fair and actually make use of your time there. We also went to the technical school if that was appropriate for the student. I'm going to now look at my notes. I'm getting a little carried away here. We also did a lot of preparation for interviews, and it was if you go back to when you were 15 or 16 or 17 and try to remember what it was like for you on your first job, that's how it was for these students. And some of the students may not have that parent who is available to go over different things with them. So that is the other thing this position provided, it was time with the student to go over how to interview, how to get identification, how to, if they wanted to access a learner's permit, how to do that, how to get a bus pass, just all those kinds of things that are going to help them down the road when they graduate. And of course, we worked on their post-graduation plan, which again, that was in concert with school counseling and all the others involved. Now I'm going to begin with Joan to give you a story. That is a made-up name. Joan was referred. She was very excited to work. We went to many different locations because she was interested in animals. We began with a horse farm, which honestly you can't really get a job through a horse farm, you can barter. Then we went to that's how it works. Then we went to a doggy daycare groomer. She did have a great interview, but she didn't get hired. And again, this is another part of the process. We needed to help her through. Everyone doesn't get hired on their first job interview. I'm sure you've all experienced that. And it's simply helping the student through that process. She did end up with a situation. She had chose to work at Agway, to interview at Agway, and we were through the process upon graduation. What did happen with Joan is that Joan did graduate with lots of help from Plainville, and she did actually move to Texas with her boyfriend. But at least when she went to Texas, she had all these tools that she wouldn't have had if not for this program. The other student that I'd like to introduce you to is Greg, again a made-up name. He was working, was referred by the counselor, and he was working hard to graduate because he needed money to pay bills because he needed a new living situation. And he had worked in landscaping and came to me, got right to work, got the interview preparation, did his resume, did the cover letter, did the application. We met the business owner, and the business owner said, okay, you can do the hiring process. He interviewed, followed through on all the requirements, and he began work the Monday after graduation. That's wonderful. He worked until he had to leave Plainville area and move to his mother's home. But he did return to work for his uncle in the landscaping business. So again, he's going forward and carrying things that he did learn. What going forward is exactly the next point here. Going forward for this year with the alternative learning program, all the district resources are going to continue to support the program and the referral process. Students are continuing to receive instructions from the ALC instructor and the job coach we contact. Again, what we do together is support regular attendance, focus on completing academics, and then going on to career interests. The other thing that students are doing now is choosing job shadows and career exploration activities. We have a career fair coming up the end of the month in Plainville, and that is something that I'll go with them or support them to attend. There also are opportunities for internships and volunteer opportunities that I can help coordinate so they can try something that they would really like to do. The other thing that's happening now is school counselors are sharing information about all the different opportunities that are available to them, whether they are going to college or going to go maybe to a technical school or some sort of employment. So all of that is happening. The other thing that was part of this program was an expansion of the community business relationships. And again, with each new student, you find something else they're interested in, and then we seek those opportunities. So we're looking forward to students continuing to gain employment, and this position, my position, is one that will support them through that. The other thing we do that I can offer is knowledge on how they would advance their career once they're in. And the students need to learn that you have to ask for what you want. It's not just going to come to you. You can't wait for the phone call. You can't wait for the raise. You can't wait for someone to give you a promotion. You have to work hard and then ask for it. And now back to Leanne.
Just wanted to point out, everyone on your table, there is a rundown here of the Alternative Learning Center. We just highlighted the real life outcomes that the grant provided our students. So that's just on the table for your reference. And lastly, we would just like to thank the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain for awarding Plainville Community Schools with this grant. Your generosity has positively impacted the students and the Alternative Learning Center team at the high school. We thank you very much for that opportunity.
Do we have any questions from the floor for our presenters? Just want to check.
How many students altogether did you impact?
How many students altogether were impacted?
There was 15 students. It was about 5 months from that I was able to impact 15 students.
15. How many were seniors, juniors? What was the breakdown by?
Well, there was, sorry. There were 5 seniors, and they all graduated.
How many juniors?
The juniors probably, again, I didn't,
You don't have a breakdown?
I didn't get that for exactly, but right now there was 3 juniors last year who are now seniors, and there are a couple sophomores. And the rest, yeah, the rest.
We've got about 26 students, yes. Yep, so 5 graduated and we had 10 left. We've got 16 more students who we have integrated into the program. So sustainability, again, that's another opportunity that the grant provided our district, because now we're able to sustain Betsy's position and sustain the program for other children.
Thank you.
Yes?
What were the outcomes? How many students maintained employment as the seniors graduated? How many of them maintained employment on their own after the program? Are there any juniors that are still employed or were hired by the agency?
Right now, there are 2 students who are employed. They left the area and have gone on and are employed outside of our area. The juniors presently we're working on employment, and beyond, let's see, out of the 5, there's 1 other student who has graduated that I'm helping a bit to get a job. So, but they all have their tools, so that now they know how to do it. That's it.
One thing I just want to add quickly is this was within 5 months. That's when we really were able to implement, I think, January-ish. End of January came on board, so I think now that we're able to continue this, we're going to have really nice data for an entire school year. For the governing order, if anyone's interested after the fact. But so this was 5 months' work, and I think we're very proud of what we were able to do, and we had great outcomes for our kids who participated.
And we have a system, or it's in place. Now I can start off running in September, which I have. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Betsy. I think in this case too, since it was 5 months of work, we'll touch base with the program in a year's time and get some more data and talk about some more of the outcomes with that. So we'll continue our relationship with the program so that we can report back to the group on how they're doing. Sound good? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Okay, and now I'd like to ask our steering committee member, Chris Brummer, to come up and take us through the next part of our program. Chris.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. We will now hear once more from our finalists and have an opportunity for all of you to ask them any questions on their proposals. This will be followed by a discussion and the vote on this year's Catalyst Grant recipient. As a reminder, our 3 finalists: Autism Services and Resources Connecticut, This agency will start a vocational assessment and training series for individuals with autism spectrum disorder, ages 14 through 21. They will also host 4 trainings for families of young adults on the autism spectrum to assist in acquiring and maintaining jobs in our towns. CCARC. They will offer a series of informational workshops relevant for families as they prepare to transition their child, their older child, a young adult, with ASD beyond secondary education. These workshops will be led by experts and representatives from state and local organizations who can help address how to access critical services and support. And the Plainville Community Schools. They will expand vocational training and employment opportunities for students with ASD that are ages from 14 through 18, with a focus on parent education and training to help their children meet the demands of adulthood. Each presenter will have 3 minutes to tell you how their program is catalytic in addressing this year's topic of autism services for young adults. Following their remarks, we will open the floor to questions, and you will have an opportunity to ask those questions. And now I would like to ask our final representatives to come forward. Please tell us your name, the agency you represent, and how your program or project is catalytic. So if you would come up, 3 presenters, please. Should I go first, or would you like?
Sure.
Order doesn't matter.
All right. Hi, my name is Leslie Simoes, and I'm the Executive Director of Autism Services and Resources Connecticut. And I actually looked up the definition for catalytic. And outside of the long chemistry one, which we're not using tonight, it stands for something that precipitates change. And we do believe that our proposal does that, specifically because we're focusing on individuals on the autism spectrum. And as you are probably well aware, the incidence of autism is rising. The latest Centers for Disease Control statistic is 1 in 49 individuals. And last year, the Health and Human Services Committee proposed or presented a study to Congress that in the next 10 years, over 500,000 young adults are going to be turning 18 and are going to be aging out into service systems that are largely unprepared for them. So I believe our proposal is really helping to precipitate change by preparing young adults on the autism spectrum to be able to go out and get meaningful work and become tax-paying citizens and be members of their community.
Good evening, my name is Julie Erickson, and I'm here from CCARC, located here in New Britain. Our project is to really give families who have young adults with autism in the transition process some powerful information and resources, and we plan to do that through informational workshops that we'll offer throughout the course of the year. We're not sure quite of the number, but we're hoping maybe 10. So perhaps 1 a month, maybe skipping the summer months in particular. As we all know, knowledge is a powerful thing. And having been involved myself in this field for 38 years, as well as sitting on a local board of education in Berlin for 9 years, families want hope. And providing that hope through networking of other individuals that can give them information, as well as meeting other family members who can also provide information to them. Maybe they've come across a situation that they've experienced and can share how they've handled that. The other thing that we plan to do with these informational workshops is to do some follow-up to make sure that folks have gotten what they've needed, if there's any additional resources that we can guide them to, as well as provide respite during the workshop. Sometimes families don't necessarily have someone who can stay with their young adult who has autism, so we will actually have some activities planned during the workshop series so that they can bring their family member with them and benefit from the information that's provided. But really, when I think about, I know, I looked it up as well, Leslie. Knowledge is a powerful thing, and we feel that providing the resources and the information through a variety of means, that we can hopefully alleviate some of their fears and concerns as they go through the next transition with their young adult. Thank you very much.
Good evening, I'm Christina Kiley from Plainville Community Schools, and our proposal for our focus really is to expand our transition program for our students who are 14 to 21 with a major focus on parent education and parent training. So as we're saying, the numbers are on the rise, and what this will allow is for our experts who are in the field to work directly with our parents, so then those young adults will be able to practice those skills, be reinforced for them, and know what to do around the clock, not just when they come into school, but parents, instead of having to be able to tell them, okay, here's your step one, here's your step two, they'll be able to coach them, and so that way the young adult will be able to take their skills that they're using in the community, because our program is community-based, so again, what they're using at school, they're putting right into employment in the town of Plainville, and then our parents will be able to come in for seminars to get that hands-on training, where they're able to become that coach, and that will be followed up through regular progress monitoring and evaluation, so we'll be able to see, as they're coaching their individuals on the spectrum at home, are they able to apply those skills in the workforce? And then once they are able to apply them, we'll be able to work with those families to say, here's the next building block. As our previous speakers talked about, building that toolbox or having the tools so these individuals can go out into the job field, into multiple settings, and hold on to sustainable lifelong employment. That's what our parent training will be. Our experts will come in and they'll teach them and they'll give them the knowledge and empower them to be able to use those tools to teach their children. Thank you.
So at this time, we'll open the floor to any questions that you have for the three presenters. If you would stand when you ask your question, and I will repeat it so everyone will be able to hear. Yes.
Hi, so I'm Joanne Caliber. I'm the director of the Early Childhood Collaborative of Southington, and so my question is for the CCARC, and my question is, why were you limited to just Berlin and New Britain? Would your workshops also be open to people from Plainville and Southington?
Okay, so the question is really, will the workshops entail all of the surrounding towns?
Absolutely. If we have the availability to get the information of how to access those family members who could benefit from those workshops, we happen to have some pretty strong networks in New Britain and Berlin that can help us to access who those family members are. Then certainly if that's capable in Plainville, and actually now that we're all sitting together, we probably could make that happen, as well as in Southington, then certainly we would do that. So yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Yes.
About how many families will be serviced for all three?
So for three of you, how many families will be serviced for each proposal?
In Plainville, we are projecting between 25 and 30 families in our first year.
Would they only be Plainville residents?
At this time, yes.
Unfortunately, I can't really answer that question because they are workshops. We will, use some of the money that we receive from the grant to do some really good marketing so that we can have family members come. So one particular workshop, may have 20 families, another may have 30, depending upon the topic that they're looking at. So I don't have a specific number, and I don't know if some of those families will actually be duplicates as well that may come to a whole series of workshops. So I'm sorry that I can't answer it specifically.
We're proposing 4 workshops, one in each towns that the foundation serves. And again, as we just said, it is difficult to know if they're open to the public. We do broadcast it. Our target goal is up to 75 to 100 families, and ASRC has got a great track record of doing series and workshops and trainings, and we usually do get a very good turnout. We have a very large listserv, and our information gets shared across the state. These workshops are open obviously to the towns that the foundation serves, but they will be open to the general public, and so therefore, they're going to be well attended.
Just have a follow-up. When will these workshops be held, during the day or the evening?
We usually do our workshops in the evening. We might try one on a Saturday, depending. There's pros and cons to a Saturday morning as well as the evening, but usually a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday evening, usually between 6:30 and 8:30, and we will be offering, light refreshments, and that's always a nice carrot to dangle, right? Because families, when they're busy, they're coming home from work, and
Because if it was during the day, it'd be hard for people to take off time to attend.
Absolutely.
Would that be the same for you as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Paulette?
I just had a question, and I remember when we were talking about this topic, how will you engage those families who are difficult to come out to different events? And this is for all three of you. What kind of strategy would you use? Because it's my understanding as a community grassroots kind of person that the families we really want to target are those that really need to be at these workshops who are very difficult to get out. So I just like to, how will you go about some type of strategy? Doesn't have to be long.
The question was, how do each proposal address family engagement, and especially families that are probably more challenged to get out, and especially in various communities?
One thing that ASRC is embarking on right now is to start doing more web-based services, and so we would have a videographer come to the workshops, and then that would get posted on our website, and that would be free since it's a grant-sponsored workshop. And so families would be able to go on and see that information. It wasn't part of the proposal because that's just something ASRC is doing, for our own work, but that we would definitely, want to do that and offer that for families who can't get out, because that's a very real issue. A lot of families, single parents, working a lot of jobs and can't really get childcare for their individuals.
That's a great question, and it is important to get those more difficult families who typically have barriers as to why they're unable to attend these types of important things. Within our agency itself, our family at CCRC, we have a pretty diverse group of staff, so we speak a lot of different languages, and sometimes connecting culturally with family members from someone who speaks their language or experiences their culture can really make the difference for them showing up. We're not objectionable at all to providing transportation if that's needed. And again, we are providing some respite. So if the family member wants to come, they can bring their child who has autism spectrum disorder, and we will provide activities. So a lot of it has to do with barriers, and we've dealt with this a lot, Paulette, I know. So we try to kind of wrap around what is the barrier and how can we help you get you there.
As part of our proposal, we will be building the capacity of our own staff, including having parent coaches and parent trainers. So we'll have the flexibility, if needed, if we have to go to the actual location that individual's home, we'll be able to do training in their home for that family, for those who can't come to us. Thank you.
Any other questions? So now I'm going to ask Jolene from the staff to take us through our final discussion, to vote, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks so much to our finalists. I know that this is not going to be an easy decision for you. Now what we're going to do is ask you to take some time at your tables to discuss the three proposals for about 5 minutes, specifically to make sure that everyone understands the proposals and that all other questions about them get answered. The presenters are still here in the room, and you can feel free to, wave them over or wave to me, and I'll get somebody over to you in case anything else comes up that you wanted to ask them. So now you can talk amongst yourselves. Before they're excused, let's please show our appreciation to all of our finalists with a round of applause. So what's going to happen now is our finalists are going to leave. We are sad to see you go. And then we will have discussion internally. So thank you again. If I could have your attention. So everybody is gone, including, so just so you know, there are no representatives from any of the finalist organizations in the room right now. And now what we're going to do is take a few minutes where you members can comment, and I'm going to ask you to stand and speak so people can hear. You can make a pitch for any proposal you like. You can lobby for one over another, like any final observations, whatever that you want. Now's your time to share it, and I will call on you, and then you can just stand up and say what you want to say. So does anybody have anything they want to say? Really? It's fine. Chris Edge.
Hello, I'm Chris Edge, Economic Development Director in the town of Berlin. My last job I actually worked at an ARC, so I work very closely with these folks. The one group from Wallingford, even though they're not dealing with as many, the vocational piece is incredibly important to this population to make sure that you know their skills, help them so they get a job they can keep. I think that's an important thing in here. Just one of the concerns at our table was the fact that Plainville is a great one, but it's only Plainville. So just those 2 points from our table, I think they're all great, but I know from my own experience working with the population, those skills in the vocational piece is vitally important, especially because a good example is I had a group of 4 women who worked at Chili's. 2 of them were doing food prep, 2 were pulling silverware. Seeing them with those Chili's shirts on was amazing to me because it made something bigger than them. And I think that's the kind of thing, making that match is vitally important. That's, I think the one from the Wallingford group. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, awesome.
Chris Brummer.
So as a former coordinator of special education in Britain, when I think about our students who 18 through 21, they leave us in the school system, and after 21, a lot of our parents do not know how to navigate the system. There's a lot of challenges, and so I am more partial to the CCRC, just getting the word out to our families and helping them go through the process. There's a lot of agencies out there that it's really just navigating the system, and I think for CCRC, who has been around for a very long time, has a very good reputation, I think they can do a lot for our 4 communities in the area.
Thanks, Chris. Paulette.
I'm going to lobby on behalf of CCARC as well, and one of my concerns is I keep going back to when we had the presenter, and also in New Britain and in Berlin I can speak to, and even Plainville, our outreach to empower that group at 18 to 21 is educating parents and getting them of the hardest to serve. Parents with limited income and resources, and CCARC has been great in partnering in New Britain with the Coalition for New Britain Youth, and we are in the process of working on our strategic plan now, and they are part of that plan, especially when we know a lot of the things that are going on. Knowledge is power, and working at my agency for 34 years, being grassroots, when I go out and working with the seniors that graduate, I ask them, what are you going to do? What's your plan? What's your career pathway? And the parents are like, is there some opportunities? And because I'm also a member of Capital Workforce Partners, looking at initiatives for all youths and opportunities, giving parents the power to know the services for those youth that are at risk and the hardest to serve. So that's my little spiel.
Anybody else? Yes, Linda.
Every year before this meeting, I'm stressed because I know that there are 3 great candidates and we only have 1 vote between us. So it's always a tough decision. And tonight, my heart is a little lighter because I listened to the conversation here among the presenters, and by the time they left, they had made connections with each other and with people in the room, and they were saying, oh, we're gonna partner with this person, and oh, I've connected with so-and-so. And so just the fact that we selected them to be finalists is going to help their organization move forward, even if they are not selected to receive the grant. So I'm very happy. And I hope you will feel better too.
Thank you. That's a great thing. Anyone else? Okay, last call. All right. Well, thank you. I think it sounds to me like the discussion was rich and informative, and that's the point of this program. So now, wait, Maureen, you can come back in now. Kim handed out ballots to everyone, and just so you know, the rules, it's 1 vote per paid unit. So if anybody's not clear about if you have 1 or 2 votes, please let me know. And anybody who is not yet a member, who is a guest and wants to be a member, you can join Catalyst for $50. Well, actually, yes, you can as a Discovery member if you want to do that. And you would have the ability to vote, but no pressure. So you can vote, and when you are done, fold it in half, and then we will collect. Sorry, one thing I didn't tell you, on the ballot, there's rank them 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. So now we're going to give you the results of the vote later in the evening. And now I'd like to ask Corey Humes from the steering committee to come up and take us through a discussion on possibilities for next year's topics.
Thank you, Jolene. So as you know, Catalyst each year chooses an area of focus that we want to learn about, and then we learn where we can best impact our communities, and we put out a request for proposals, and eventually we're at the point we are tonight. So what the steering committee was talking about, trying to get everyone in this room more involved in how we come up with the topics that we are potentially going to focus on. And so, beginning this year, you will have the chance to give some input this evening, and so that the steering committee then has your thoughts as to what should be considered for possible topic for 2019. The committee will be meeting in January to review the topics that are discussed tonight. So on each table, you'll see that there is a yellow sheet like this, and on it there is a list of past topics that we have studied and funded a grant for since all the way back 2003.
It's only 2 of us.
on the back are also an additional list of topics that were considered but never were actually acted upon as topics for our Catalyst year. So those are just some stepping off points for you so that you have a history and you know. It doesn't mean that these are not ones that you can still consider. So what we would like to do is have someone at each table be a note taker.
There you go. Are you doing it, Mr. Ed?
There's a white sheet on the table that's blank pretty much, and it just has a place for someone's name at the top. The reason we're asking for a name is so that if we have any questions about the notes that were taken, that we know who to go back and ask. But what we'd like you to do is to take a few minutes now at your table and talk about some possible topics that we can consider for 2019. And if someone would be so kind as to take those notes, then Jolene and the staff will collect those when we are done, and we will review them as a group.
Question?
So, again, 2019, it will be for all 4 communities?
Yes, so we do encourage you to discuss this in terms of what types of possible topics would be beneficial or could be beneficial to all 4 communities that the foundation has service areas in, which is New Britain, Berlin, Plainville, and Southington. Any other questions? Yeah, and try to be as specific as possible. Don't make it, too general, because we'd really like to know where your thinking is headed, so that we can then best figure out how we could have those be possible topics for next year. We're going to only take maybe 5 to 7 minutes to do this, so chat amongst yourselves. Thank you.
Everybody thoughts we're just chatting, basically writing the arts,
You know, and we talked about that one comes up every
and you did.
and always gets
Shot down, I bring it up and
well, there's always some other topic that comes up
Thank you so much. This is really, just so you're clear, what's going to happen is, so the steering committee will meet, and I did have one person already volunteer to join the steering committee, and we can have as many as we'd like. So if you want to join the steering committee and be part of this process, please let me know, because we would love to have you, and you'll have, it's really easy, it's fun, it's not a lot of work. Anyway, I don't think it's a lot of work. Oh, Sharon, yeah. No, but seriously, we meet and we have, choosing the topic, and it's good. It's very good. Chris says it's very good.
It's excellent.
It's excellent.
Everyone's
yeah. So what'll happen is, the steering committee's gonna meet, and they will consider topics predominantly from what you're gonna give back to us, and other topics that come up. And then they will prepare 3 final topics that will go out to the membership for a vote. So, just so you know that. At this point, would each table, somebody like to just share, like, what's the top, thing that rose to the top in terms of an interest area? We would love to know. Yes, Marshall.
Social media training and understanding for our youth so that they understand the outcomes of what they're actually posting and recording on themselves and how they impact.
Woo! Love it! Thank you. What other table? How about Corey? What about you? Zach? Just your top topic.
We talked about childhood obesity and trying to get children a little more active in their daily life.
Cool, thank you. Center table here, Fran or Chris?
We had a couple different things. The one that we had the most discussion on, which was for opioids, bringing people to care for therapy and other support, not just the individuals, but their families as well, to help them surround the person with support.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
For our table, my husband brought us about the engineering background, but information technology for nonprofit organizations. That so many times that nonprofits really don't know how to manage their technology. They have different servers. They're really susceptible to hacking and whatnot. So something to think about in terms of the nonprofits and IT.
That's a great idea. We could even, with our capacity building program,
Right.
maybe use this.
Right.
Anybody else want to please share? You don't have to get Linda.
2 that we discussed, civic and community leadership, or civics education.
That's a good one. Interesting. Thank you. Any other table want to share? Yep, Mike.
We talked about the arts, and especially arts for youth, and we also talked about addiction and opioids.
Okay. Yes.
So
Keep
we
it down,
talked
Bill,
about a half a dozen things here. I don't think we had one that rose to the top, but I'll say the last one that we spoke about was the importance of reading at grade level by 2nd grade, so the kids don't get left behind or get lost, and what the ramifications are that for them in the later years.
Wow, this is great. Awesome. Okay, please make sure that I get your paper back by the end of the evening. And now I will ask Dave to come back up to the podium.
Hey, this has been a good meeting, hasn't it? A lot of good energy in the room, a lot of good ideas. Okay, so I've got a few things I want to go over briefly before we finish up tonight. One, the membership drive for Catalyst begins as soon as we close this meeting for 2019. So, just so you know, go ahead and renew. It's okay. We have some
We got our
forms.
first member.
We got our first one for 19 right there. There we go. So we're on our way. And forms are on the table. I believe they're the hot pink forms.
Yes.
Because we can't put enough paper on your tables tonight. Wow. Record membership and record number of pieces of paper.
Can we address the environment at our next program?
Environment on the list. Yes. Recycle, reuse. Okay, so the form gives you opportunity to pay by check. You can pay by credit card online just by going to our Give Now page and selecting Catalyst. But one of the exciting things, I think it's exciting, but I'm a fundraiser at heart, so here comes Dave's exciting thing. And the fact is now that we're adding recurring donations to our website. I know we've just got up to the 19th century now, but we're working on it. And in the next couple of days, we'll have recurring donations on the website. So we're going to offer you a special deal for 2019. Love it. So, because we're going to offer recurring, because that means that we'll hold your credit card information forever. It's good for us. If you sign up for Catalyst and have a recurring donation of $20 a month, anytime starting between now, well, when I tell you, I'm going to send you an email when it's up on the website. Between then and January 31st, you do $20 a month, it's a 4% discount, okay? I know, 4%, but you'll be $240 rather than $250 for it. But the best part is it's $20 a month. So for some people, that does make Catalyst more affordable and able to digest, to participate. So we hope that helps with some people who are looking for that option. Now, the other thing that's great about that option is for individuals, for families, for businesses, for organizations that have donor-advised funds with us, that have designated funds, or agency funds, or scholarships with the Community Foundation. It now means that you can set up recurring donations to add to your fund on a regular basis, and a lot of our donors were asking for that. So we'll be announcing that in the next 2 weeks that will now be available to everybody. So we hope that makes it more convenient and accessible to you to be able to do that. So with that, saying that, I'm required by Community Foundation law that I have to now say, if you want any information about how to start a donor-advised fund, scholarship, designated fund, agency fund, or anything, please let any of our staff know. Now, on the table, to go along with the other paper that you have, there's one of these on each table. These just got to my office at 10 after 5 this evening. You're the first group to see these. This is the new funds booklet at the Community Foundation. And there's more of them on the counter as you go leaving tonight, so if you'd like to pick one up, you can. But inside, this opens up, so if you ever wanted to learn about our funds, our scholarships, the types of funds, how we invest those monies, how we take care and steward those funds, hopefully all of your questions would be answered right here. So if you're ever thinking about something like that, and in our case, the Community Foundation offers individuals and families and businesses an opportunity to start a donor advised fund for only $5,000, which is a very low minimum compared to other community foundations. And you can build that fund over time or add to it with a planned gift down the road, way down the road. So, if you want more information about that, we now have a funds booklet. It's available on the way out if you'd like to pick it up, if the one on the table isn't available, or ask us any questions at any time. We've added 7 new donor advised funds or scholarships just this year. And so there are a number of people who are coming to us and seeing that this is an option for them. They'd like to establish a legacy and have a permanent fund. Linda and I started our own Obudzinski Family Charitable Fund at the foundation this year, and we're looking forward to the recurring gift option too, so that we can continually build that fund over time. So thank you for your interest. Next, one final fundraising note. Our annual Civic Leadership Fund appeal, our annual appeal for the foundation, is now ongoing. You may have received something in the mail already. There's some information on the table if you haven't seen it. So I thank you in advance for your consideration of that appeal. Now back to Catalyst business. Now there was something else we needed to do tonight. Oh, that's right. We were supposed to announce who is getting a grant. So with that, Sharon Beretta from our steering committee is going to come up and make the announcement before I do all the rest of the business.
Mr. Obudzinski. It's my honor to announce the winner. I was very happy to hear, though, that of these 3 great finalists, that they actually connected with each other, which is really, and as I tell most of the staff at the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain, which is why I love the capacity building topic that we had done and we've continued with the Janofsky and Associates, because it brings so many different groups of nonprofits together, and they really do learn from each other. I was very pleased to be part of that this year with the PAL organization. So without further ado, if I was Ryan Seacrest, I'd say, dim the lights. The winner of this year's grant for $10,000 is CCARC.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for your generosity, for your participation. Each year, we learn. We focus on something. We try to make an impact with our grants, and we get to hear back from those agencies how they applied those grants. And I think it's a wonderful cycle that we have. But I would like to also add to our meetings in the future a couple things. One, a little bit more in the way of visual presentations about the impact that our grants are making. We're going to talk to those agencies about having a little bit more visual presentation about that impact in the communities. And also, in line with our earlier presentation from Plainville, in saying, let's look back a couple of years. Let's see how some of those agencies who were getting grants from us a couple of years ago are sustaining those programs. And we haven't really done that as part of our program. So we're gonna look at that too and see how we can bring some of that information back, so we can all, be proud of what we've been able to do, but also look at, is there more that needs to be done? Is there another angle that we need to look at in some of these areas? So, final business items here. As was mentioned, the survey is going to go out, so we encourage everybody to fill out their surveys about how this year went, as well as about any information about topics that we might have for you. We've already talked about the steering committee. If you want to get involved, just let us know. Now about our grants. At the beginning of this year, I made the announcement at the first meeting that we were shooting for breaking a record on our membership. And that if we were able to break our record on membership, then we would have a chance to be able to increase our grant going forward. And it's always been $10,000. And I am happy to report that in doing our calculations on our new level of membership now, as of tonight, at 69 members, which is an all-time high.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We've calculated that we're going to be able to increase our grant next year to $12,500. So that's thanks to you, because not only did you join or renew, but you brought people into the room. You helped us grow, and we really appreciate that. We really appreciate the businesses that came forward, the OK Industries, the hospitals, the Stanley Black & Decker, those guys who came forward and said, yeah, we'll sponsor people from our business too, to come and be part of this experience. So we're very grateful for that part of this membership growing too. So if we are able to get past and eclipse 75 or 80 members, then we can talk about even going farther with that grant. But I think it's a great accomplishment by this group to be able to go higher on our grant award and make even more of an impact in our communities. So with that comes our member appreciation raffle to close out our evening. So Kim's going to come forward. Everybody who is a member should have gotten a blue ticket. Is there anybody in the room who is a voting member who did not get a blue raffle ticket when they came in? Seeing no hands, we will now draw for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prizes. We'll see what happens. Our first number is for this Anthony Jacks envelope. I like that reaction. Wow. Remember that one, Jolene?
Yeah.
684143. And now we have some, let's see. Okay. Gift certificate to Angelo's. Britain. 684131. 131. 131. Congratulations. I was just saying, there was a little delay there, and I thought it might have been Mark who had left. And it's something like a council meeting or something to go to. Okay. A gift certificate to Good Cause Gifts. 684162. 162. Carrie Robinson. And our last two prizes are 2 Amazon gift cards. Actually, it's more like an Amazon gift piece of paper. It's printed on there. Yes, and my distinguished colleague here has reminded me that if you are using Amazon on a regular basis and you have not chosen a charity on Amazon Smile, please choose the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain as your charity of choice, as we will receive 0.5% of every purchase that you make on Amazon if you go through Amazon Smile and choose us. So with that, kept you here to be able to say that. 684144. One more. So before I call this last one, happy Thanksgiving and best wishes for everybody for a beautiful holiday season to everybody. Thank you. We look forward to working with you on Catalyst next year, and with that, but let me say first. No, I want to say thank you to Jolene for organizing everything with Catalyst this year. And Kim and everybody back at the office for helping out and making sure everything runs smoothly. They make us look good. 684-139. 139. Hey, we're spreading out. There we go. Thank you very much, everybody.